Hello, and welcome to What's Your Story? We are so glad to have you with us today because we have a fabulous guest. Her name is Dr. Maria Christina, and she is with the Sheehan Health and Wellness. I'm trying to remember what city it's in, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but we'll ask her just a minute when we see her. But she stepped away from an academic career of over 40 years into the world of fitness and health. And her journey led her to become a health coach and trainer, helping women regain their best bodies, health, and confidence. And she's also an award winning fitness competitor. We're going to find out more about that as well. And her belief is that no woman needs to age stereotypically. So, welcome, Dr. Maria.
It's such a pleasure to be with you, Judy. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we're so glad. Where are you located?
Well, in the state, I'm in Reno, so
Oh,
just
well,
an hour from you.
we're glad to know you're near us. John and I were saying, we looked at your phone number. We said she's got to be in Northern Nevada because that phone number is a Northern Nevada number. So you're in Reno. I didn't realize that. Here we've been talking for months on Women Thrive, and I didn't even know you were right in the same state. This is
Right.
wonderful. So tell us about you were an award-winning fitness competitor.
Yes, and this is about as far away from the academic row as you can possibly imagine. And if someone had told me 15, 20 years ago that I would be on a stage competing with athletes 20 years, 30 years younger than me, I would have said, you're crazy, which is all, the heart of the story in terms of how we can shift our lives and our health as we get older. So I didn't do any of this until I was 71 when I did my first competition. I'm
Oh
78.
my goodness. My goodness, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, what made you transition from an academic life to health and fitness?
Okay, that's such a good question because I would have thought I would never have done that. Education was my life. I started as a teacher of the deaf, and now I'm profoundly deaf, and I use this in order to really get clarity to speech and understand it. But back then, I had perfect hearing, and so I started in education. Oh my gosh, it was 1970. Yeah, so quite a long journey, and then moved into higher education and thought I would be there forever. And most of my colleagues who step away from the academic life they don't really step away. They go into consulting and research, etc. So this is really a big shift. And the question, why did I do it? I was watching my colleagues with having serious health issues, and a very close colleague die on the job, and others having very, very serious health issues. And I thought, we experience so much stress, and what we know what stress can do to our bodies, it's a serious issue. And I thought, gee, I've been in this business for over 40 years. I've been a college president for just short of 20 years, just a few months short of 20 years. And I thought, why experience more stress in my body? And I will be just like the colleague that died so many years younger than I am right now. I chose health over staying in the position. And so often I think that once we go down a career path, we think we have something more that we have to do. But I felt I don't have anything more to prove. I've done it. I've done it in 2 states. I've done it for 3 institutions. It's been wonderful. I've loved it. But high pressure that I was in, as I was getting into my late 60s, I thought, wow, the 70s are not going to be good if I keep going down this path, because I was not sleeping. I was not eating correctly. I was gaining a lot of weight. And so I would have never thought that I could transform my body to the point where it would be at a competition level. I would have never thought that.
Oh wow, that is absolutely amazing. Being an older woman myself, or should I say mature, I have to say I really admire you for that because I go to physical therapy, and after I do a few exercises, I'm whining and carrying on, instead of getting myself as fit as I should. So why is it that you want women to age differently?
Well, I think that it's a choice of, I want women to have choices. I want them to have enough education to make choices. And the reason we don't make choices is we don't have the information. So I got to be 69 and I'm in this state where my health is looking like it's going to go down. It's not going to get better. It is so much better today than it was, 10, 15 years ago. But I didn't know how to change it. Okay. So I'm looking at 70 and thinking, what am I going to do? I tried all the diets, I tried all the different exercise programs, nothing seemed to be working. And I didn't see any models of how it can be at 70. And I think that that's part of what happens to us. We just think, oh my gosh, that's it. That's the way it's going to be. You're going to gain the weight and going to, not have an opportunity to get our bodies back. It's just going to go downhill. And so I really wanted a different way. So when I stepped out, I wanted to reclaim my health. So I started on a journey to figure out what would that be. And I got, just by happenstance, I had a recommendation to go to a strength trainer, so a very powerful bodybuilder. And I thought, oh, for heaven's sakes, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pick up weights and get all those hulky muscles and be masculine. And that's a stereotype of strength training, right? But what happened was I was so desperate to find another path, I went. And what I discovered is that our bodies have an amazing ability to change if we just give them the chance. But we don't know that. Okay. So we think, like I used to think, the stereotypes of, no, picking up a weight, that's going to be too hard. And I'm too old, I can't do it, I'll break something. And so we get all of these messages that are going to negative messages against what is absolutely what we need to do. So I started down this path, and he was very old school. You got to have 3 sessions a week, and you got to eat this way, the bodybuilder diet. And I could do the sessions, but I couldn't do the diet. So what was happening to my body is I was seeing changes as we were moving along. I was getting stronger. Okay. So we lose our muscle mass and our bone density and starts going downhill in our 40s, And then it just keeps on going if we don't do anything to intervene. Well, I could see that I was getting stronger, feeling more energy. Okay. But I wasn't seeing the real tone and definition of my body that I needed, because I couldn't stick to the very strict bodybuilder diet. I couldn't do it. So that's when I went on my next exhibition my next exploration to find what else. What are you going to do? And that's when I found health coaching. So I was my own first best client. I did everything that you learn about in health coaching. And then that was the combination that was needed. So with the strength training and the combination of the right kind of intake in terms of what we're eating, that made the difference for me. Yes. I don't know. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. It was perfect. So why is strength training so essential? Why do older people need strength training?
Well, it is because what I mentioned before, we start to lose our bone density and our muscle mass. So if we do nothing, if we start at 40, where are we at 50 or 60 or 70? It keeps declining. So what happens to us is we're at risk for osteoporosis or sarcopenia. So we're losing our muscle mass. So then we can't hold ourselves up. Okay. So then you hear about how many women, especially, that are having falls and springs and breaks. And then that amount of life that you have after 65. If you have one of those breaks or something, your lifespan is shortened to almost a year. Okay, and you either are not on this planet any longer, or your mobility is so decreased you are not living an independent life. So what we know that we should be active, but we don't know that strength training is essential because it does build muscle. And what the researchers are telling us today is that muscle is the organ of longevity. They're saying it's not just how long you're going to live, it's the quality of life that you're going to have. The more muscle you have, the more skeletal muscle you have, the better your prospects for a longer, healthier life. And we don't get it with Pilates. We don't get it with yoga. We don't get it with tennis. We don't get it with any of the other sports that are strength sports too. Those are good. But the best benefit is the strength training.
Well, is there also a best diet to protect our health as we age?
You know, any diet can, we're all metabolically a little bit different, okay? And in the US today, 2/3 of us are metabolically unhealthy. Okay, so we are victims of
Two-thirds?
the standard American diet. We really are. So there are a few principles. I don't believe in diets because once you have something that's so restrictive, it's like me trying to do that bodybuilder diet. I couldn't do it. It was too restrictive. So there are just a few key principles to keep in mind. And it doesn't matter if you're Mediterranean or just plant-based, or if you are really into just eating meat as a carnivore diet. It doesn't really matter. It's how your body feels about it. But it's really that ratio between your healthy fats, your healthy carbs, and protein. And that's another thing that we don't even hear about when we go to our docs. And the docs, know we're over 50 and they tell us to walk and, we'll get a better diet. Well, you have to honor protein. You have to watch your portions. And basically, it comes down to eating real food. So what we eat right now, as you know, is processed. It's in a package. It's got laden with sugar or artificial additives. And that is reducing, it's causing a lot of insulin spikes. And what the researchers are telling us, the more spikes we have, the faster we're going to age. And it causes inflammation in the body. Our standard diet, which is filled with sugar. Okay, so inflammation is connected to every chronic disease. So we are aging ourselves so much more quickly than we need to or have to.
So what are your best tips? What are your best tips for us? I mean, I'm 80 years old. Tell me what your best tip is for me to stay young and vital at this age.
Okay, well, and then you look fabulous, Judy. So you're obviously doing something right already. So I would say keep it going for sure. But I think a lot of it is our mentality. Okay, so we see people that are within our age group and they've already decided at 50 that they're old. Okay, so then it just keeps on going down and they don't challenge their bodies. So the researchers are telling us we need to do more as we age, not less. Okay, so counterintuitive, but more. So let's just say you're walking 10 minutes a day, then speed that up the next time, the next year, the next month, you can do a little bit more. So I would say movement is critical. Strength training, absolutely essential for the reasons that I mentioned. We want to stay independent as long as we possibly can. That core strength that we get with strength training is just so important, and it just takes minutes a day, just minutes a day. So I would say, if I were advising you, keep doing what you're doing and keep looking as fabulous as you do today, because you can into your late 80s and 90s look as beautiful as you look today 10 years from now and more. Okay, so keep the movement going, keep the mind into a positive state. Surround yourself with those beautiful friends that you have, and really appreciate those positive interactions. jettison the negative and the toxic people from your life, and then eat real food. And if you put those three together, the movement, what you should have in your body, and look at what you put into your body is going to either increase your ability to age well or take you in that negative downward spiral of illness. So those would be some of my tips.
Well, those are good tips. So I think I'm hearing you say don't eat packaged food. Eat real, fresh fruit, things that grow in the ground and on the trees and that sort of thing.
Yes, that's real food. So there's, and it's bountiful. So we can always find something that we like to eat that's real food, but we tend to go for the package, the quick fix, etc. And then what we know is the food industry is not really interested in our health. They're interested in the bottom line, the profit margin. So what does that mean? You've got to keep it on the shelf longer. You've got to put artificial ingredients into it to keep the freshness of the product. You've got to put sugar into it because that's going to keep us coming back for more. So, I mean, from the standpoint of profitability, it makes all the sense. But from the standpoint of our health, it's really detrimental. And I think the saddest thing for me is to go into the health food stores and really expect I'm going to get you.
I know. Get something healthy.
It's very difficult. So no, you can find some good things, but it's like half of it shouldn't be there if it's going to be a health food store.
Right. I always think it's funny. You go to a health food store and half the people in there look really sick. It makes me wonder what they've been eating. It makes me nervous. Is there anything?
There's one more thing I want to talk about, and then one of the researchers is saying to us, and he's been at this for about 30 years, Dr. David Sinclair. He's saying he studies longevity, and he says, stay a little lean, stay a little hungry. And the longer that you can take that span of hours that you're not eating, the better you are. So it's called intermittent fasting. It's
Right.
12 to 16 hours. He's really a proponent of that in terms of turning on what he calls the longevity genes.
What is his name again? What is his name?
Dr. David Sinclair from Harvard University.
Okay, I'm going to write that down and check him out. Okay. Because I've tried intermittent fasting and I always feel better when I do it. So I want to find out more about it. Thank you. You just answered the question I was going to ask you. I was going to say, is there anything you need to tell us that I didn't ask you? And you answered that. But I mean, is there anything else that you had planned or wanted to talk about today that I didn't ask you about?
I think it's you had some very good questions for me. And basically, I would say research the choices that are available for us as we age. And Dr. Sinclair's book is Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to, Health Span versus Lifespan. And it's excellent. But there's the author of Younger, Sarah Gottfried, and she is wonderful as well. And she's talking about epigenetics and how we can intervene in what we think we are predisposition to have happen to us. And she's saying, oh, no. There's a protocol for just about everything.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
The other thing I guess I would leave you with is our mind plays a very important part in terms of how we age. So we have to keep our minds stimulated and challenged in our bodies as well if we want to look forward to the years ahead. And I can't wait to be in my 80s, only 2 years to go.
Well, you look pretty wonderful yourself. I was in shock when you announced your age at the Women Thrive, and you were like, I think I'm the oldest person here. And I'm like, no, you're not.
Well, I couldn't believe your age, so there we go.
Well, I really want to thank you for being here with us today. You gave us some wonderful information, some good tips. And as we're aging, we need to know these things. We need to know how to stay healthy, most of all, so that we can have an active and a quality life. And we will check out these books that you recommended. I will definitely check them out because they sound fabulous. And thank you so much for being here today. And I want to thank everybody else for being here today as well, too. Thank our guests for watching. I know they got a lot of good tips from what you had to say. And I hope you'll come back with us soon. And you know what? I think I'd like to have you, if you would, Dr. Maria, write some articles for our Choices magazine. I think that would be very good, especially because you're here in Nevada. We can get together with you, you know. So
Absolutely.
so I'll follow up with you on that. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And thank you for being here today. It's been wonderful to have you with us as always. And if you have a story that you'd like to share or some tips for how we can do something even better in our lives, please contact me, Judy Mario, at WWDBTV, Worldwide Digital Broadcasting TV in Las Vegas, Nevada. Thanks.